Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the Earth Defense Command Station, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling blue marble of humanity's birthplace below. The message from the Vesring Collective played again in her mind, each word a hammer stroke against humanity's future. You have 48 Earth hours to surrender all quantum research facilities and cease all faster-than-light development programs. Failure to comply will result in immediate military action. The ultimatum had arrived 6 hours ago, transmitted simultaneously to every major human settlement across their dozen colonized systems. The Vesring, with their crystalline ships and energy-based technology that seemed to defy physics itself, had appeared from nowhere 3 months ago. First contact had been peaceful, if distant. They'd watched, they'd studied, they'd measured humanity's worth, and apparently found it wanting. Sarah's reflection in the reinforced glass showed none of the turmoil in her mind. At 53, she'd earned every silver streak in her black hair through 2 decades of defending human space, but nothing in her experience had prepared her for this. Admiral. The voice belonged to Commander James Torres, her tactical officer. The Security Council is ready. She turned from the viewport, squaring her shoulders. Time to face the music. The council chamber was a testament to human engineering. Its holographic displays showing real-time data from every human world and outpost. 12 faces floated in the air around her, the leaders of humanity's unified defense force. Some she knew personally, others only by reputation, but all wore the same expression of grim determination. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah began, I assume you've all received the same message I have. Those crystal-headed bastards, General Wong spat from his lunar command. They watch us for 3 months and think they can just demand we give up our technological sovereignty. The question, Sarah continued, is why now? Why give us an ultimatum about quantum research specifically? Dr. Elena Martinez, head of the Quantum Propulsion Initiative, cleared her throat. Her hologram flickered slightly as she leaned forward. Because we're close to something revolutionary. Project Aurora isn't just another incremental advance in FTL travel. What we've discovered, she paused, glancing around as if checking for unseen observers, it could change everything. Sarah felt her pulse quicken. How close? 3 weeks, maybe 4. We've cracked the unified field equations, real unified field theory, not just another approximation. With this, we could achieve instantaneous translation between any 2 points in space. No wave riding, no bubble formation. Just step through here, step out there. The chamber erupted in murmurs. This was beyond anything humanity had achieved before. Even their current FTL technology, reverse-engineered from ancient ruins found on Mars, was crude compared to what Elena was describing. And you think the Vesring know this? Sarah asked. They must, Elena replied. Their sensors are far more advanced than ours. They've probably been watching our quantum signature emissions, seeing the patterns change as we got closer to the solution. General Wong's hologram stabbed a finger at the air. Then we fight. We've got the Seoul Defense Fleet, the Colonial Guards, which would last approximately 6 minutes against their level of technology. Sarah cut in. We've all seen the sensor readings of their ships. Their energy output alone is orders of magnitude beyond our capabilities. So we surrender, Wong demanded. Give up our best chance at technological parity because they're stronger. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. I didn't say that. She gestured, and a new hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a massive facility, buried deep within the Martian crust. This is Site Omega. Officially, it doesn't exist. Unofficially, it's where we've been conducting our most sensitive research for the past decade, including, she paused for effect, backup development of Project Aurora. Elena's eyes widened. But I thought that your facility on Europa was the only one. That was the point. We learned from Earth's history, never keep all your eggs in one basket. The implications settled over the chamber like a heavy blanket. They had options, but they would have to play this perfectly. What I'm about to propose is risky, Sarah continued. If it fails, we'll likely face immediate attack. But if it works... She let the thought hang in the air. For the next hour, they planned. They argued. They refined. And finally, they agreed. At exactly 800 Earth Standard Time the next day, Sarah Chen stood before the global broadcasting array. Her uniform was immaculate, her expression carefully neutral. Billions of humans across a dozen worlds watched as she prepared to respond to the Vesrine ultimatum. To the representatives of the Vesrine collective, she began, her voice steady. Humanity has carefully considered your demands. We understand the concerns you may have about our technological development. Therefore, we agree to your terms. She could almost feel the shock rippling through the human populations watching. But she wasn't finished. We will begin the shutdown of all quantum research facilities immediately. You are welcome to send observers to verify our compliance. We only ask for a grace period of 72 hours to safely power down our more sensitive experiments. The response was almost immediate. A Vesrine transmission, their crystalline script translating into human standard. Your request is granted. Observers will arrive within 12 hours. Any deviation from the shutdown procedure will be considered an act of war. Sarah maintained her neutral expression until the cameras turned off. Then she allowed herself a grim smile. 72 hours. It would have to be enough. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in the hidden halls of Site Omega, Dr. Marcus Reeves watched the broadcast with his team. As soon as it ended, he turned to the quantum core humming behind him. Time to see if our theory about unified field mechanics is correct, he said quietly. Begin Protocol 0. The game was on. Humanity had just started the most dangerous bluff in its history. They had 72 hours to either achieve the impossible or face extinction. The Vesrine had made one crucial mistake. They thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would bow to superior force. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest advances had always come when backed into a corner. Dr. Marcus Reeves hadn't slept in 36 hours, but the stems coursing through his system kept his mind razor-sharp. Site Omega's quantum core pulsed with an eerie blue light, its crystalline structure a mirror of the technology humanity had been reverse engineering for decades. Outside, Vesrine observers patrolled the surface facilities on Mars, watching the staged shutdown of decoyed research centers. They had no idea what lurked beneath their feet. Field stability at 97%, announced Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. Marcus, I think we've done it. The unified field is responding exactly as your equations predicted. Marcus allowed himself a moment to appreciate the irony. The Vesrine's ultimatum had actually accelerated their breakthrough. Nothing motivated human ingenuity quite like a deadline and the threat of extinction. What's our time window? He asked, moving to examine the quantum field readouts. 38 hours until the official shutdown deadline, Yuki replied. The Vesrine are already celebrating their victory. Their communications traffic suggests they believe we're completely compliant. Marcus smiled grimly. Pride comes before the fall. The quantum core's hum changed pitch, drawing their attention. The crystalline structure at its heart had begun to resonate at a frequency that made Marcus's teeth ache. But the readings were perfect, better than perfect. Dr. Reeves, a new voice called. Marcus turned to see Admiral Chen's hologram materializing in the lab. Despite the secure quantum-encrypted channel, her image was crystal clear. Admiral, he acknowledged, I assume you're here for an update. The Security Council is getting nervous. The Vesrine have positioned additional ships in high orbit. They're taking no chances with our compliance. Marcus gestured to the quantum core. Then they should have been watching this facility instead of the decoys. We've achieved stable unified field generation. More importantly, we've figured out why our previous attempts failed. He pulled up a holographic model of spacetime. The Vesrine don't use conventional FTL technology. They've been manipulating quantum fields to create localized spacetime corridors. But here's the beautiful part. They're doing it inefficiently. Sarah's eyebrow raised. inefficiently. Their approach treats space and time as separate entities that need to be forcibly manipulated. Our breakthrough came when we realized they're manifestations of the same underlying field. Instead of brute forcing our way through space-time, we can. He paused, searching for the right words, persuaded to cooperate. The implications weren't lost on the Admiral. You're saying we can match their technology. Match it? Marcus laughed. We're going to surpass it. The energy requirements for our method are a fraction of what they use. And there's more. He nodded to Yuki, who brought up another display. We've been analyzing their shield technology. It operates on similar principles, manipulating quantum fields to create impenetrable barriers. But with our understanding of unified field mechanics, we can bypass them. Sarah finished, her eyes widening. Exactly. Their superior technology is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how space-time actually works. They've built an impressive house on a flawed foundation. The Admiral's hologram paste, a habit Marcus had noticed she displayed when processing significant information. How long until we can implement these discoveries? That's the challenging part, Marcus admitted. The theory is solid, but practical application requires a complete rewrite of our weapon systems and drive technology. Under normal circumstances, it would take months. We have 38 hours. Then we better make them count. Marcus turned to his team. Initialize Protocol Thunder. All hands on deck. The next day and a half became a blur of activity. Site Omega transformed into a hive of controlled chaos as engineers and scientists worked in shifts to modify existing technology with their breakthrough discoveries. Sleep was replaced by stims, meals were taken at workstations, and every minute was precious. In orbit, the Vesrine continued their smug observation of humanity's apparent capitulation. Their crystalline ships glittered in the sunlight, a constant reminder of the deadline looming over them. 30 hours into their work, the first prototype was ready. A modified shuttle, barely large enough for 2 people, sat in Site Omega's testing chamber. Its conventional engines had been replaced with a miniaturized version of the quantum core, and its hull bristled with sensors. Initial field test in 5 minutes, Marcus announced to the assembled team. Admiral Chen's hologram watched intently as final preparations were made. The shuttle's quantum drive hummed to life, creating a field that made the air shimmer like a heat mirage. Instruments recorded every fluctuation as the field stabilized. Field generation successful, Yuki reported. Energy consumption at 12% of projected requirements. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. Initiate translocation sequence. The shuttle seemed to blur, its edges becoming indistinct. Then, with a sound like a whispered thunderclap, it vanished. 1 second later, it reappeared on the other side of the chamber. The lab erupted in cheers. Marcus checked the readings, his hands shaking slightly. Perfect translocation. No field distortion, no energy signature. The Vesrine's sensors won't even register it as a quantum event. How soon can we scale this up? Sarah asked, her voice tight with controlled excitement. We've already started. The principles are sound. It's just a matter of engineering now. We'll have the first combat-capable prototype ready before the deadline. Good, Sarah nodded, because we're about to need it. The Vesrine just announced they're moving up their inspection schedule. They'll be doing a final verification sweep in 6 hours. Marcus felt his blood run cold. That's not part of the agreement. They suspect something. Our compliance has been too perfect, too smooth. They're not taking any chances. He turned to his team. You heard the Admiral. We just lost 6 hours. Let's make them count. As the lab burst into renewed activity, Marcus gazed at the successful prototype. Humanity had always done its best work under pressure, but they were about to put that reputation to the ultimate test. In orbit, the Vesrine ships continued their patrol, their crystalline hulls catching the sunlight like facets of a diamond. They had no idea they were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity's capacity for innovation. The thunder was gathering. Soon, it would break. Captain Kira Williams had never seen a more beautiful sight than the quantum drive core pulsing in her ship's engine room. The experimental vessel, designated Thunderchild, hummed with potential as her crew made final preparations. They had exactly 20 minutes before the Vesrine inspection teams would arrive at Site Omega. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension thrumming through the ship. "Quantum drive at full capacity, Captain," her engineer, Jack Chen, reported. "Dr. Reeves's modifications are holding stable. We can initiate translocation on your command." Kira nodded, studying the tactical display. Above them, 3 Vesrine cruisers hung in high orbit, their crystalline hulls catching Mars' dim sunlight. They looked invincible, untouchable, but appearances could be deceiving. "Message from Site Omega," her communications officer announced. "Dr. Reeves reports the inspection team has landed. They're beginning their sweep." "Right on schedule," Kira murmured. She opened a channel to Admiral Chen. "Thunderchild reporting ready, Admiral." Sarah Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression tense but controlled. "The Vesrine are moving faster than expected. They've already detected some quantum residue from our tests. We need to move now." "Understood." Kira turned to her crew. "Battle stations. Prepare for emergency translocation." The Thunderchild's crew moved with practiced efficiency, despite having only trained for these maneuvers for a few precious hours. They were humanity's best, chosen specifically for their ability to adapt and innovate. Deep beneath the Martian surface, the Vesrine inspection team was getting closer to discovering Site Omega's true nature. Their crystalline sensory apparatus detected increasing traces of quantum activity with each step. "These readings are impossible," the lead inspector transmitted to their ships. "The humans couldn't have." The message cut off as Thunderchild executed its first translocation. One moment, the experimental ship was hidden in a shielded dock near Mars' polar cap. The next, it appeared directly between the Vesrine cruisers, its quantum signature completely masked until the moment of arrival. "Now that," Kira announced on an open channel, "is how you make an entrance." The Vesrine ships reacted instantly, their weapon systems charging with brilliant purple energy. But they were too late. Thunderchild's new quantum weapons were already powered up, their unified field technology targeting the fundamental flaw in Vesrine shield design. "Target the lead ship," Kira ordered. "Let's show them what humanity can do when pushed into a corner." The quantum lance struck with surgical precision. Instead of impacting the Vesrine shields, it passed through them as if they didn't exist, the unified field manipulation making their defensive technology irrelevant. The crystalline hull of the lead ship cracked, geometric patterns of destruction spreading across its surface. Impossible. The Vesrine transmission was filled with genuine shock. "Your technology was primitive. You couldn't have developed this so quickly." Kira finished for them. "You should have studied Earth's history better. We tend to do our best work under pressure." The remaining Vesrine ships opened fire, their energy weapons transforming space into a deadly light show. But Thunderchild was already gone, translocating to a new position with impossible speed. Each appearance was accompanied by another precision strike, each shot finding its mark with devastating effect. In orbit above Earth, more Vesrine ships began emergency translations, responding to the distress calls. But they weren't prepared for what awaited them. "Now, Admiral," Kira transmitted. Across the solar system, hidden facilities activated. Dozens of ships, each equipped with the new quantum drive technology, emerged from concealment. The Vesrine found themselves suddenly outnumbered, their technological superiority neutralized by humanity's breakthrough. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen to all Vesrine forces." The transmission went out on all frequencies. "As you can see, we've made some advances in quantum mechanics. I suggest you consider your next moves very carefully." The Vesrine response was immediate and violent. Their ships formed up into attack formations, preparing to overwhelm the human forces with sheer numbers. But they had yet to grasp just how completely the situation had changed. "They're not getting the message," Kira observed, watching the Vesrine preparations. "Permission to demonstrate our full capabilities, Admiral." "Granted, Captain." "Show them why picking a fight with humanity was a mistake." Thunderchild's quantum core pulsed with new energy as Kira activated their secondary systems. The unified field technology didn't just allow for improved weapons and transportation, it gave them control over local space-time itself. "Target their formation," Kira ordered. "Full spectrum disruption." The attack was unlike anything the Vesrine had ever encountered. Space itself seemed to ripple around their ships, their own quantum field technology turning against them. Crystalline hulls began to resonate at frequencies their designers had never anticipated. Shields flickered and failed, and carefully coordinated formations fell into chaos. "This is impossible." The Vesrine commander's transmission was filled with disbelief. "You were barely capable of interplanetary travel 3 months ago. You made 3 crucial mistakes." Kira responded calmly as Thunderchild continued its devastating attack run. "First, you threatened our existence. Second, you gave us time to prepare. And third," she paused as another Vesrine ship's systems failed under their assault, "you assumed we couldn't surpass you." The battle continued for another 20 minutes, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Vesrine's technological advantage had been not just neutralized but reversed. Their ships, designed around their understanding of quantum mechanics, were particularly vulnerable to humanity's new insights into unified field theory. As the last Vesrine cruiser surrendered, Kira allowed herself to relax slightly in her command chair. "Status report. Minor damage to port systems," Jack reported. "Quantum core operating at optimal efficiency. We could do this all day, Captain." Transmission from the Vesrine flagship, her communications officer announced. "They're requesting terms." Kira smiled. "Put them through to Admiral Chen. I think it's time we had a serious discussion about humanity's place in the galaxy." The stars seemed to shine brighter as Thunderchild maintained its position, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. They had not just survived the Vesrine's ultimatum. They had turned it into an opportunity for advancement that would reshape their future among the stars. The Vesrine High Command's crystalline chamber pulsed with angry red light as reports flooded in from across human space. Supreme Commander Vexthor, his crystalline form radiating waves of distress, watched as another tactical display showed a Vesrine battle group falling to human ships that seemed to appear and disappear at will. "Impossible," he muttered, his crystalline voice creating harmonic resonances in the chamber. "They were primitive. We studied them for months. Their quantum understanding was basic, their technology crude." "Supreme Commander," his aide transmitted urgently. "The humans have launched simultaneous attacks in 7 systems. They're targeting our quantum stabilization networks." On the main display, the extent of humanity's counteroffensive became clear. The supposedly primitive species had not just developed countermeasures to Vesrine technology, they had fundamentally transformed the nature of space warfare. In the Proxima Centauri system, Admiral Sarah Chen coordinated the multi-system assault from aboard Unity Station. The massive space station, now equipped with quantum shield technology, had become humanity's forward command center. "Status report from all theaters," she commanded. "Thunderchild Battle Group reports complete success in the Ta City sector," her tactical officer announced. "Captain Williams has secured their quantum relay station with minimal casualties on either side." The Arcturus offensive. Dr. Reeves's modifications to the colonial defense grid are working perfectly. Vesrine ships can't maintain quantum coherence within 50 light seconds of the colony. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Vesrine's greatest advantage, their mastery of quantum technology, had become their greatest vulnerability. Humanity's understanding of unified field mechanics had revealed fundamental flaws in their approach, flaws that couldn't be quickly corrected. "Message from the Vesrine High Command," her communications officer reported. "They're requesting an immediate cessation of hostilities." "Put them through." Supreme Commander Vexthor's crystalline form materialized in the command center. Despite his alien nature, his agitation was clear in the erratic pulses of light within his crystalline structure. "Admiral Chen," he began, his translated voice carefully controlled. "Your species has demonstrated unexpected capabilities. We propose an immediate diplomatic solution to our conflict." Sarah's expression remained neutral. "3 days ago, you demanded our complete technological surrender. What's changed, Supreme Commander?" "You know what has changed." Vex Thor's form flickered with frustration. "Your quantum warfare techniques are unlike anything we've encountered. You've turned our own technology against us in ways we didn't think possible." "Did you really believe we would simply submit?" Sarah's voice carried genuine curiosity. "That we would abandon our research and accept permanent technological inferiority?" "Your species had barely achieved reliable interstellar travel," Vex Thor countered. "Our analysis suggested you were centuries from true quantum manipulation. Then your analysis was flawed. Humanity has a long history of rapid advancement under pressure. You didn't just threaten our technology, you threatened our existence. We responded accordingly." As if to emphasize her point, another tactical display showed the Thunderchild executing a perfect quantum strike on a Vesrine fortress world. The massive installation, once thought impregnable, now lay dormant as human forces secured its quantum cores. "The weapons you've developed," Vex Thor began, "they violate fundamental principles of quantum mechanics." Dr. Marcus Reeves, who had been quietly observing the exchange, stepped forward. "No, Supreme Commander. They follow quantum mechanics perfectly. You just never understood the full implications of unified field theory." The scientist projected a complex mathematical model into the space between them. "Your civilization built incredible technologies based on an incomplete understanding. You treated quantum fields as something to be forced into compliance. We learned to work with them, to understand the underlying unity of space-time itself." Vex Thor's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been surprise. "This is unprecedented. The equations you're showing, they suggest that reality is more complex and more elegant than you imagined," Marcus finished. "And that true advancement comes from understanding, not just application." Another alert sounded. The tactical display showed more Vesrine ships surrendering across human space. Their once mighty fleet, faced with technology they couldn't counter or comprehend, was rapidly losing the will to fight. "Supreme Commander," Sarah said firmly, "I suggest we discuss terms. Real terms, not ultimatums. Humanity has demonstrated we won't be bullied or contained, but we're also not interested in unnecessary destruction." Vex Thor was silent for a long moment, his crystalline form shifting through various color patterns that suggested deep internal conflict. Finally, he spoke. "The High Command accepts your proposal. We request an immediate conference to discuss peace terms and technological exchange." Sarah nodded. "A wise decision. Captain Williams and the Thunderchild will escort your diplomatic delegation to Unity Station. I trust you understand why we insist on providing transportation." The implied message was clear. Humanity now controlled the terms of engagement. Their mastery of quantum technology had surpassed their would-be conquerors. As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to Marcus. "How long before they could replicate our breakthrough?" "Years, at minimum," he replied. "Their entire technological foundation would need to be rebuilt. They don't just need to learn new techniques, they need to unlearn centuries of fundamental assumptions about how the universe works." Sarah gazed out at the stars, watching as human ships continued their precise, coordinated campaign across space. The Vesrine had sought to contain humanity's growth, to prevent them from becoming a threat. Instead, they had catalyzed an advancement that would reshape the balance of power throughout known space. "Send word to all commands," she ordered. "Maintain pressure but minimize casualties. Let's show them that humanity can be as measured in victory as we are unstoppable in defense." The quantum fields rippled with the movement of ships and the transmission of orders, carrying humanity's message across the stars. Never again would they submit to those who underestimated them. 1 month after the Vesrine surrender, Unity Station hosted a gathering unprecedented in human history. Representatives from 12 different alien civilizations had assembled to witness the signing of the Galactic Concordat. The station's grand chamber, its windows offering a spectacular view of Earth below, hummed with tension and possibility. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the central podium, flanked by Captain Kira Williams and Dr. Marcus Reeves. Across from them, Supreme Commander Vexthor's crystalline form pulsed with subdued colors, a stark contrast to his earlier aggressive displays. The terms of the Concordat are simple, Sarah announced to the assembled delegates. No species shall attempt to forcibly restrict the technological or social development of another. Knowledge and advancement are fundamental rights, not privileges to be granted or withdrawn. The Thunder Child held position outside, its quantum core a reminder of how quickly the balance of power could shift. But today, the experimental ship served a different purpose, a symbol of human potential rather than human warfare. Furthermore, Sarah continued, we proposed the establishment of the Unified Field Research Initiative, a collaborative effort between all spacefaring species to explore the true nature of reality and advance our collective understanding. Vexthor stepped forward, his translated voice carrying across the chamber. The Vesrine Collective accepts these terms. Our mistake in judging humanity has taught us much. Perhaps too much pride in our advanced state blinded us to the potential of others. Marcus activated a holographic display, showing the complex mathematics of unified field theory. This is just the beginning, he explained to the assembled aliens. Our breakthrough barely scratches the surface of what's possible. Together, we could unlock mysteries none of us could solve alone. The alien delegates murmured among themselves, their various forms and communication methods creating an almost musical cacophony. Many had come expecting to witness humanity's triumph over the Vesrine. Instead, they were being offered partnership. Kira caught Sarah's eye and smiled slightly. They both knew this moment would reshape galactic society forever. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had emerged as a leader in both technology and diplomacy. There is one other matter, Vexthor announced unexpectedly. His crystalline form shifted, projecting images of distant space. In our arrogance, we sought to contain humanity because we feared what you might become. We had detected signals, threats from beyond known space. The chamber fell silent as the images resolved to show massive structures moving between the stars. The deep dark, Vexthor continued, a species so ancient and advanced that they view all younger civilizations as mere resources to be harvested. We thought humanity too primitive to help face this threat. Sarah studied the images, her mind already analyzing tactical possibilities. And now we understand that your unique perspective, your ability to innovate and adapt, may be exactly what all of us need to survive what's coming. Dr. Reeves stepped forward, his eyes bright with new possibilities. Your data on these entities, their quantum signatures are unlike anything we've seen. But if we combine our understanding of unified field mechanics with the collective knowledge of all our species, we might stand a chance. Kira finished. The Thunder Child's captain had seen firsthand how quickly humanity could advance when challenged. Not just survive, but thrive. Sarah nodded, turning back to the assembled delegates. Then let this Concordat be more than just a peace treaty. Let it be the foundation of something greater. A united front against any force that would threaten our collective future. One by one, the alien representatives stepped forward to sign the agreement. Each signature represented not just their own species, but a commitment to a new way of thinking about galactic civilization. As the ceremony concluded, Sarah found herself back at the window, gazing down at Earth. The same view that had witnessed her receiving the Vesrine ultimatum now showed a planet that had earned its place among the stars. Quite a view, Marcus said, joining her. Hard to believe it was only a month ago we were racing against time in Site Omega. The universe is full of wonders, Sarah replied. and threats. But we've proven something important. Humanity doesn't just survive challenges. We transform them into opportunities. Outside, the Thunder Child executed a perfect quantum translocation, appearing alongside a Vesrine cruiser in a joint patrol pattern. The two ships, once enemies, now moved in perfect coordination, their crews learning from each other. The deep dark is still out there, Kira noted, joining them at the window. And probably other threats we haven't even imagined yet. Sarah smiled. Good, because humanity's just getting started. We've learned who we are and what we're capable of. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, not just as a species, but as part of something greater. The quantum fields rippled with the movement of ships, the transmission of data, and the endless dance of particles that made up reality itself. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars not through conquest or submission, but through innovation and determination. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, ancient entities stirred, unaware that their next harvest would meet something unprecedented. A unified galaxy led by a species that had proven, beyond any doubt, that underestimating humanity was a mistake no one should make twice. The adventure was just beginning.